Gilet jaune, gelb Weste, Giubbati Giauli. I guess it's Giauli, right? You Italians? The purpose of this is to wear vests to take down the deep state. All of it. Not just a little piece, not the SES, not some bureaucrat, not get the wall built. That's not the only thing. That's a 1% solution. We need to do it all. And the only way to do it is to go to the bottom of the well, the bottom of the swamp, and ferret them all out. Every snake, and all the way to the bottom where the dragons lie. Where they are funding to the tune, for instance, in 2008, of $27 trillion that they gave to their own insider buddies. We authorized through Congress $700 billion, I think it was, and they backdoored through our money with the Federal Reserve $27 trillion to their insiders. So what did they do with that? They bought everything that they wanted. They bought it at the bottom. They bought it after you and I lost our retirement plans and our individual retirement accounts, our HOAs and the rest of that. After 20 or 30% of us lost our homes and the rest of us all lost equity in our real estate. The stock market had plummeted and we lost a third or 40% of our net equity, the middle class in the United States. So they took it at the bottom. They stepped out at the top and took it at the bottom, and they've been doing this for over 200 years. It's time for us to take them all out, because without taking them out, we are going to face this over and over and over and over again. They're going to keep leveraging us up and down. They're going to keep playing games with us. They're going to keep cheating us and dividing and separating us until they have us completely under control, and we are getting close. All right, so let me talk about some of the comments that were made with my most recent video, which has to do with yellow vests. There were people that said, oh, well, we don't need to do anything until X or Y. I've been hearing this for about a year and a half now. Well, in a month, on the 13th of November, this is going to happen. On the 29th of October, this is going to happen. No, it didn't. It doesn't. It didn't. It hasn't. And it maybe won't. And I'm going to ask you who are sitting patiently waiting for the next disclosure, the next opening, the next, when all of this is going to happen, how long are you going to sit and wait for one more promise before you say, okay, if it happens, great. I love it if it happens. I'll step in. I'll cheer like everybody else. I'll eat a bucket of crow if it happens. But if it doesn't, we must start moving on our own. We have a duty. We're American citizens. We are the free people. It is we the people, not somebody hiding behind some 8chan channel that's going to fix it for us. They may or may not help. They may have the benefit and the help of the Army. They may have the benefit of the Marines. They may even have the insiders to the Pentagon, but so far nothing has happened. And if the deep state catches on and these guys fail or they're somehow thwarted, we will have sat again and done nothing. And what I'm going to say to you, so there's this big deal about, and I see this, well, there's the art of war. Either Trump is using the art of war or somebody else is using the art of war. You retreat until you attack. You're quiet until you do this and all the rest of it. Well, let me give you my answer to that. According to the art of war, which is Sun Tzu and it's 500 BC and the rest of that, there are all kinds of tactical things that can be done, and it includes the military, of course. But what you have to recognize is that these administrations are ones that lasted for decades or hundreds of years. They had the capacity to withdraw and wait till they were stronger, to watch the enemy, to dissipate the energy, to gather their own forces, to gain more momentum, to get the people behind them. We have used, in this administration, 25 months now, almost 25 months. And I'm saying to you, I said this the other day, we have about 9 or 10 months. We have till about the 10th or 15th of November to get everything done that's going to be done in this administration. And if Trump loses or decides not to run, we have till November or so forever. Forever. Because nobody is on the horizon. Certainly nobody in the Democratic Party and nobody I see in the Republican Party that would step in and take the place. You think Pence is going to fix it for us? Do you think Jeb will come back? Do you think one of these goofballs in Congress is going to help? McConnell is going to help? You think so? I don't think so. No, there's no potential for it. And if we leave the deep state in, they'll pick the candidates for us. They'll pick little, what's his name, Marco, little baby Marco from Florida, who kisses at the feet of Sheldon Adelson. Is that going to be your Republican presidential candidate? How about Mittens Romney? Willard. Will that be your candidate? It could be. It could be again. McCain Jr.'s. And on the Democratic side, the progressives, the so-called progressives, the wild socialist, democratic communists are ready to take down the borders and let anybody in. How does that help the common people, the middle class? I will tell you, and this is an old study, that having excess immigration into this country drops the wages of wage earners by at least $2 an hour. If you're making wages now, and I don't care if it's $24 or $40 or $11 or $7.98, if you're making wages now and there is a downward pull because there's excess labor, it will pull all of you down. It will pull every one of you down and cost at least $2 an hour. And for those in the lowest economic part of the ladder, it amounts to 20% or more of your income. So having unmitigated immigration not only costs us $120 billion a year, not only drops into Medicaid and sucks our health care, not only takes our low-income housing, not only gives subsidized utilities and free food and the rest of that, not only provides medical support for babies that are being born that don't belong here, but it costs $120 billion to take care of them every year. And everybody that's earning wages under, let's say, $20 or $25 or $30 an hour is losing $2 an hour. Multiply that by 20 or 30 or 40 million people and 2,000 hours a year and see how that works out. I don't even have the total. It's outrageous. Not only that, but the foreigners, the illegal foreigners, are sending their money away. So we have NAFTA, the new NAFTA, which is included a whole bunch of stuff from the United Nations climate control stuff and helps in a few areas, but it's not that much better. So before I get too far off of this, let's go back to the art of war. And the art of war is this: we don't have 5 years to retreat and withdraw. We don't have time to play little games. We don't. We have pissed away, forgive me for saying it, we've pissed away a couple years already. We've pissed away 100 years already. We have pissed away since the Second World War. We should have known all along, and we've been lied to and game played for all this time. And I'm going to say to you, Q folks, and there are many of you who are wonderful, engaging people, hopeful, upbeat, positive people, that eating popcorn, clicking your mouse, buying a t-shirt, and looking for proofs is not going to win your independence or your freedom in this country. It's not going to do it. So what do we need to do? First of all, we can do a whole bunch of things, and let me give you a short list. And this is by no way meant to be a cumulative list. This is just talking points. It's a starter. I look for us to have some group in Cleveland that is going after either helping with or going after a teacher strike. There's some kind of tax legislation in Cleveland, and 500 people or 5,000 people show up with vests on, and they take the process down. I'm looking for people, and this is really important, to see our congressional candidates when they come out to the hinterlands where the little people are, not the lobbyists, the little people, and they show up in Flagstaff, Arizona, or they show up some other place in the country, Havre, Montana, and instead of having 74 people that love them and clap for them, there are 500 or 5,000 of us in vests that say, no, we demand you represent us. We demand you ask the hard questions. We want to see you standing on the front porch, the front steps of Congress, and telling us why 9/11 needs to be investigated over again. Pick one. Why JFK stuff ought to be released only 50 odd years later. Why we should not provide for a wall and provide for a wall that goes all the way across. Why we should not double the number of immigration agents. I'm just picking some high points, that's all. Why we should not cut down our foreign aid, why we should give money to NATO, why we should help with United Nations. 100, you pick, but as long as we're together, that's the point. We call them out and we make them represent us. So, for instance, we can boycott. Let me give you an obvious boycott, and you can pick whatever you want. You pick a product, you pick somebody that represents or that sponsors Cooper, whatever his name is, Anderson Cooper. Fine, let's pick one of those. Let's all boycott them. Let's have 10 million of us quit buying Nestle products or whatever it is that is the deal. There's a product called Senomix. I invite you to take a look for it. It's Senomyx. It is an artificial product being added to hundreds of processed foods, including Pepsi and a whole bunch of others. Do you know what it comes from? It comes from the reproduction of kidney tissue of a fetus, of a human fetus. And it's in dozens, if not hundreds, of products, and we should boycott them all. We should not be eating products that source out of human fetal tissue. That shouldn't happen. I don't care what your stand is on abortion, but we should not be doing that. So we can reduce buying in various areas. We can remove bank accounts, certainly with some of these bigger banks. We can consolidate in banks and savings and loans that are safe and secure. Take North Dakota, for instance. They have their own banking system. We can power up. How might we do it? Well, if we show up at hearings, if we show up at city council meetings, if we show up where there are travesties, where there are, like the Campfire Fire in California, where are you? The 10,000 people that ought to be banging at the state legislature and asking them for PP&G to come to the party and to properly and independently investigate and permit access to others to find out what really happened at the Campfire Fire and other fires that are there. I used to be a volunteer fireman. That doesn't make me an expert. Blue, 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 not an expert. But I can tell you that I've been in raging forest fires, in high fire areas, in fast-moving fires, and they did not move, transmit, take down property like the Campfire Fire in California. Tell me how that happened. And we should be responding to it, because if it is a directed energy weapon, and I think it is, oh, my tinfoil hat, I think it is, then we need at least the right to find out. And having military block everybody off and keep everybody out and not even have the vaguest idea of how many people died there is incomprehensible. Incomprehensible. We need to do counter demonstrations. Where there are demonstrations, we need to be there times 10 or 20 or 100. So that if the Antifa folks show up and there's going to be 100 or 200 of them, we should have 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 of us and encircle them and make them uncomfortable. I'm not talking about beating them up. I'm talking about overwhelming them. I'm talking about the mainstream media showing up and suddenly all around them are vests. All around them, everywhere. And they have to show us on the TV because the Antifa folks that they're going to show are in the middle of it. I'm talking about showing up at the false flags, what I call bogus banners, and just being there, if nothing else, in a presence and not allowing them to fake it. I'm talking about the people in Florida. Where are you? Where are the 10,000 people in Florida that go to Broward County and insist that there's some kind of election review and that there are charges being filed and that everybody that is complicit is being brought into it? I'm talking about calling them out and making them answer. I'm talking about insisting that the wall be there and maybe demonstrating at the wall. I'm talking about getting a bill supported, and we go to our various congressmen and say, we do not want anybody that's born in this country, if they're born of foreign parents and they're not legally here, they don't have green cards, they don't have authorization to be here, we don't want those people to automatically become citizens. That has to end. And it is not true in most other countries. There's no reason for it. So finally, there are two things I want to talk about. One of them is people are constantly being hung up on images, colors, symbols, and signs, right? There is no question that the deep state, the dark folks, have co-opted certain signs and symbols. There are things that we don't want to embrace or engage or wrap around. But if they pick a squirrel out and that suddenly becomes a demonic topic, we cannot allow them to confiscate these various processes. I've heard people say, well, Antifa wore yellow vests. Well, we can't let that happen. They can do whatever they want to, but we can't say, no, we're not going to wear yellow vests just because some idiot group did. So, and that same thing is true with symbols. There are innocent, kind, decent symbols that have been co-opted, but we don't have to buy into them, right? So I had a bunch of people that said, no, we shouldn't be a yellow vest. We shouldn't be a yellow vest like the French and the Europeans. That's something different. We ought to be red vests like MAGA. Well, that, I'm going to talk about in a second, can be treated as partisan. We ought to be orange because that would be a different color. We ought to be red, white, and blue. Well, first of all, it's going to take you from a $2 vest like this one. I paid $1.70, I think, for these. I bought 10 of them. I bought them on Amazon. They're called Peer Basics, P-E-E-R Basics. And you can buy a package of 10 for $17, and I think if you have a Prime account, that's it. Don't buy them on Amazon if you don't want them. Go to your local construction supply place. Go to Ace Hardware. Go wherever you want. Buy them locally. It doesn't matter. But let me say what I think about this vest business, and I will tell you what I've done and what I propose, and you guys can pick it up or not. All I can do is say, here are some thoughts and ideas that might help. If you like what we're doing, if people are already doing what we're doing, great, let them in. If they're doing something slightly different, great, let's join them. If we have people that have momentum, fine, be a part of it, let it go. It's not about me, it's not about my channel, it's not about anything that has to do with any one of us. As a matter of fact, we don't want to make it that way. There is no persona, there cannot be a persona. The French have learned not to have a leader, and it is with good reason. We need to be ubiquitous, we need to be everywhere. We need to all be in charge. You, the citizens, need to all be in charge. We need to participate. So what I did today, I did. What I did today is I signed up for a domain, which is called neonvests.com. Now, there's no website there, but I did get it. But it's called neonvests.com. Let me tell you why I didn't do yellow vests. Well, because that was a $22,000 domain price. I'm not going to do that. Why did I pick neon instead of something else like neon vests together, neon vests all? I looked at those, neon vests USA, whatever, or some kind of thing like co or org or something else, or net. Well, part of it is that some of you said, no, I want a different color. You know, in truth, what I feel about this is if people show up with vests on, I don't care if they're pink or purple or yellow or orange or white or black. I don't care what they are. If they're vests, we are telling people that we are part of the protest, that we are not going to let the deep state stay. Pick the color you want as far as I'm concerned, because it won't take away from us. There are color revolutions all over the world in various colors, and you could pick any color and it would be from Somalia or Indonesia or the Ukraine or Georgia or Moldavia or somewhere else. They've already done it. That's not the point. The point is we wear vests, which we agree, I guess, I hope, would do it. And when we show up, then everybody joins in. Now, the final note, and this is part of the color business. I mean, if you want to show up with a pink vest because you want to represent breast cancer, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, as long as you join us and take down the deep state. That's the important point. We need different way to look at cancer. If that's your contribution to it, great. Embrace it. So this is not left or right. The French are smart enough, and I give them great credits, homage to you, to include both the left and right. It is the common people against the 1/10 of 1%. Let me tell you for sure, I know that this is a 1/10 of a 1/10 of a 1/10 of a percent that is running this country. It's the Trilateral Commission, it's the Council on Foreign Relations, it's the Bilderberg Group, and it's the people above them, the organizers, the masters, the rest of them that are doing it. It is a couple handfuls of people, and we can stop them. We can take them down. We can neutralize them. We need a jubilee from the Federal Reserve. We need to confiscate the assets of the Federal Reserve. We need to take those criminals out. The people that loaned $27 trillion need to be frog-marched and answerable to the courts, and legitimate courts. And we need to take out anybody that's in the deep state. We should amass enough people to say to them, you either pull out and step down or we will take you out. The peaceful part of this protest, the vests, the neon vests, is we are giving we are giving you, not you giving us, we are giving you an opportunity to step down and get out. And if you're part of the deep state, get out. Resign, withdraw, go away, take away your assets. Do not attempt to take us down or we will hunt you and find you. And if you are subordinate to, blackmailed by, taking bribes and benefits from the deep state, and you won't renounce it, then you're part of it. And we will take you down. So stage one, folks, I'm not talking about violence, but stage one is we demand. We are present and we will be organized. And when there are 10 million of us, they will surrender. And if they don't surrender, there will be too many of us to take out. So our only benefits are, so far, we have the freedom of speech. And I guarantee you, in the next 24 months or 36 months, it's going away. We have a piece of freedom left. We have the right to bear arms. And that is a thinly held right. We have the right to assemble. It is a thinly held right. We have the right of press. And that is through what we're doing here now. And while we retain these, we must do everything we can and flip this before it flips us. And if that doesn't work, then we'll talk about what's next. But in the meantime, it's time for us to get serious. Now, finally, this is not about me. Every time I do something like this, somebody comes in and says, oh, he just wants more subscribers. He wants to make more money. This is all about him. Well, here's the deal. Don't subscribe, okay? Don't add yourself onto my channel. If you like this, don't subscribe. I don't care. And let me tell you why. Number one, it's not about me. Number two, join somebody else that does this. Number three, anybody that wants to lead, I'll follow. I'm happy to follow. I'm a damned old man, okay? Number four, I'm not monetized. Number five, I have no sponsors. Number six, nobody is paying me, okay? Nobody is paying me. Number seven, I have nothing to sell. And when I did, I only did, I think, $1,000 worth. If you think that covers 200 odd videos, do the math, see how it works. It doesn't do very well. Especially after you buy $1,000 worth of t-shirts. And number six, let me go to this because it's really important. And it's at the end of this, and if you don't want to listen to it, it's a good time to get rid of me. Nobody is paying me, right? I'm not hired by anybody. And what is more, I'm not getting paid. There are no benefits. I'm not going to be part of a board of directors. I'm not going to be appointed to anything. Number seven, I have no licenses, no affiliations. I don't belong to anybody. I'm not Masonic. I'm not the Knights of anything, Malta or the rest of this. I'm not anything, okay? I don't belong to any religious group. I'm not unspiritual, but I don't belong to any religious group. I don't attend any regular meetings. I don't belong to any political party. I don't represent anybody in a political party. I have no affiliations, whatever. All you get is one old guy in Arizona that says, hey, look, I'm an American citizen, and my dad flew a bomber, and he offered his life for the safety of this country. And me and my people have been here since 1620, since the Mayflower. And many, many lives have been shed in my line to be here, to stay here for generations. And this is my opportunity to say to you, let's move forward. Let's all be citizens. Let's respect the lives and the blood that have been given for us to preserve this nation. Let's step up. And if it means some of our blood, it means mine. It's okay. It's okay. So let's go forward. Neonvest.com, do you like it or not? Will you buy a vest? And what is more, finally, pass this and accelerate this to other channels. It's not about me. You don't have to reference my channel at all. Just get them to talk about it, get them to join in on it. The Neon Vest thing, I will happily contribute, neonvest.com. I'll happily contribute to any organization that is working on our behalf and that will put groups up. And I recommend and suggest that we form groups. We form ad hoc groups all over, and that these groups operate independently, individually, and coordinatedly throughout the nation. And I invite the Canadians and everybody else to join in and to form your own groups, not to be part of ours, but to have your own. I think it is time, when you know that the Rothschilds and the Federal Reserve folks, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund folks, own 160 odd of the central banks of the world, that we have them all to take down. And everybody can join in, because almost nobody has nothing to lose, to use a double negative. We all have something to gain all over the world, and I invite you to join in. And again, folks, it's not about left or right. It's not about north or south. It's not about west or east. It's about diversity. It's about all opinions. I want the diversity of opinions. I want the people who disagree with me to have the freedom to disagree in the future. And that won't be true when we go down. It isn't about gender. We welcome both genders and any orientation. It's not about politics, left or right, Republican, independent, libertarian, green. It doesn't matter, Democrat. It's not about spirituality or religions. It's not about personal heritage. It's not about nationality. It's about us, American citizens, standing up, taking back our country, removing the deep state, removing it to the bottom of the swamp. And if President Trump wants to be a part of it, I invite him to join. And if he'd like to follow on the energy that we build, I invite him to lead. And if he doesn't lead, I invite him to step aside, because we cannot, A, rely on any one person, or B, defer to any one person, or fail because one person failed. We cannot allow that to happen. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, don't give a thumbs up and don't subscribe, but leave a comment and feel free to send me email at drphrog@seethingfrog.com. Thank you so much for watching.